What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to yet another video. So today I'm going to be editing your guys' photos that you guys submitted to hunterphotoedits@gmail.com. If you want to be part of the next video, go ahead and submit your photos there with your Instagram handle. So without further ado, let's just hop right into this, go into Lightroom and edit your photos that you guys submitted. So let's do this. Alright, so first off we have this photo. I think this is in Switzerland, don't really know exactly where, but it looks like Switzerland by this little middle piece right here. So yeah, anyways, let's go and just start editing this. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to up the shadows a little bit, probably all the way up, and then bring the highlights down slightly, but it feels like the highlights are already down quite a bit, so probably about right there is pretty good. Bring up the whites, get some brightness into this, and also bring up the exposure slightly because it needs it, because it is a little bit dark. Let's see, dehaze, no, I'm going to actually bring the dehaze down slightly, and then I'm going to use a radial filter on this. Ooh, that needs to be inverted. Get that down to 0, invert that, dehaze it a little bit more, bring up the shadows, bring the exposure up slightly, highlights about right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this and then invert it so that way the check isn't there. Bring down the shadows slightly, contrast up slightly, and then after that come to my radial filter, bring that down, get the exposure right, like something like that, and then detail, ISO is fine at 100, okay, and then calibration, bring a saturation of blues, boom, just do it my style first, how I edit, and then bring that back down slightly. I want to make like the island pop. Alright, I think that's good. So this is the before and after. I kind of just brightened everything up and brought a little bit more color into this. So I brought more blues into this to make it feel like more of a colder feel in the shadows. And then kind of just like brought everything up. Didn't really do anything to the greens a whole lot. And I just desaturated it slightly in the calibration area with the blues, and then a little bit in the greens, and then brought the saturation up in the reds. And that's basically it. Now I added radial filters around the island and help make it pop, but then did another one where I duplicated it. And I inverted that to make it a little bit more darker around it. Then I added gradient filters from on the top and bottom. On the top to make it a little bit more warmer in the sky, and then on the bottom to make it a little bit dark, so that way there's like that depth feel to it. So that first one is by Shack Shots on Twitter. Everyone's ad's going to be down in the description for this video, but that submission is by Shack Shots, so thank you for sending that photo in. And moving on. So this next photo right here is by JSK Jordan on Instagram. So right here we have a photo of palm trees, kind of like on the beach, kind of looks like in SoCal. So let's just jump right into it and get this photo started. So first off, I'm going to change the, what's it called? Make it more straight on the horizontal line, so that way it's like actually straight up and not crooked or anything like that. So do that first, bring the shadows up slightly. Actually, I'm going to do that, bring the highlights down quite a bit. Whites barely slightly, about 33, something like that. Blacks down. Gonna bring the shadows back in. Contrast, exposure slightly, okay. And then let's do a little bit warmer and then add some magenta to that. And then dehaze slightly. Vibrance, bring that up. Saturation, yeah, about right there. Come down the tone curve. Boom, boom, oh. Gonna need it less. Ooh, actually, here we go. Like that. Then what we're gonna do next is get the radial filter, bring a big one, big old big one to right here, bring the shadows up. No, not like that. We'll invert it first, that way it pops. Get the whites up, and then bring highlights down, whites slightly down, because I don't want that clipping. Contrast. Let's make it a little bit colder feel to it. Maybe like that. There we go. Highlights and split toning. About right there. Shadows. I always go about 200 on my shadows. I just always like play with it till it looks good. So about right there, I like it. And then down here, move primary down a little bit to -14. Saturation up. Green. Play with this a little bit. I don't know. Do that. Get my radial or gradient filter. Bring that down to about right there. Bring the warm tones up. Little purples. A little more dehaze. Bring it down to a blue so that way it gets a little bit more purple. Boom. Get another filter up. Bring it down right here. Take the blacks down a little bit. Shadows slightly. Contrast. And that. And then get another radial filter. And what we're going to do is going to drag it a long one across like that. Bring it over here. And bring exposure up slightly so that way it's on the building. Okay, I was trying to get that to work, it wasn't going for me. Then feather it to 100. Enter, boom, done. Before and after, that's it. I actually like this one a lot, super easy to edit just because it was a blank sky and it's exposed well. Even though it is JPEG, it was a little bit harder to edit and get the right details out of it, but I feel like I pulled it off pretty well. So Jordan, thank you for sending this photo in. It was fun to edit, something super simple and cool. I liked it a lot, super dope spot. You need to go back there when there's clouds because this will be an insane spot with some clouds. And also start shooting raw so that way when you go in editing you have more detail to play with in the photo. And even though it may not seem like a big difference at first, but once you start doing the editing you'll definitely see the difference between JPEG and raw, so shoot raw. Okay, so this next one is by Lost Coast Imagery, or his name's Tyler, and he sent this one in of looks like DC. And without further ado, let's just jump right into it. But first thing is he also shot JPEG, so Tyler, again, try shooting raw. It may not seem like a big difference at first, but when you start doing the editing process after like 2 or 3 shots of editing, you'll see how much more room you have to edit with and more capabilities you have. So let's just jump right into this. So first thing first, bring the exposure up slightly, about right there. Even that's just fine at 1.11. There we go. Highlights down slightly, shadows up, and then I'm going to get a radial filter because the building itself isn't really too focused. Clarity up. Oh, invert that first. Clarity. Dehaze it slightly so that way it could look like it's in more focus. Tone curve. Boom. This one's kind of hard to edit because I shot at ISO 200 at 2500th of a second, which is pretty high. I mean, for this type of photo, if you were going to go that high on the shutter speed, you're better off changing the f-stop instead of cranking the shutter speed, because that way it will get more stuff in focus, and also you could have a slower shutter speed because you don't need one that high. And then come down to the blues, desaturate that. Oh, actually, here we go. Get the greens, desaturate that, bring up the greens and luminance, same with the blues. And then come down to split toning, get something like that in there. Little blues in the shadows. Something about like right there. That looks pretty good. Okay, and boom. So that one's done. I like the outcome of this, even though it's not the greatest, just because it's shot in JPEG. I can't really do a whole lot to the image, and I wish I could, but again, it's the best I feel like I could do in Lightroom only. If I went to Photoshop, I'm sure I could tweak it a little bit more, but right now I'm just sticking to Lightroom only. I do like how this came out, but it's just kind of hard, like I said, with JPEG images to bring up the details and make it exactly how you can make it. Like, I'm sure if I had a raw image I could make this a lot better, but yeah, Tyler, thank you for submitting your photo, and let's move on to the next one. So for this next one is by Nick, or Colt45 on Instagram. He has some pretty crazy photos if you guys haven't seen his Instagram already, but he submitted this photo of, looks like Trinidad, a local place near me that has a lot of cool spots. It's a nice Milky Way photo, a little bit underexposed, but I'm sure we could bring out the shadows and everything in this photo and make it something awesome, because I'm loving this shot already because the Milky Way is going straight through the middle and it looks amazing. So first thing first, we're going to bring the shadows up. I want to try to get as much detail out of this photo as possible and bring the highlights down. If it goes, there we go. and then bring the exposure up slightly so that way we could get the right amount of light in there. Bring the shadows down very slightly. I'm going to go a little bit more. Whites, bring those up. Slight dehaze, and then clarity, obviously, because for Milky Way photos I like to bump clarity up very slightly. Vibrance up. There we go. And then I think that's gonna be it for that. Alright, so here's the before and after. I mean, if I probably spent more time on this, I'm sure I could make it a little bit better, but I'm liking how this came out. I do like how I added a little bit more blues into it and then just bump the shadows up on the rocks itself. And I love how it still has some more detail, and then it looks like in the water there's many star streaks, like star trails, but I think it's just the water on how it's reflecting, because on the top part the stars aren't really moving too much. But yeah. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you guys did like it, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and let me know if you like this little series I'm wanting to start up. It's going to be super interesting and fun. Also, if you guys want to submit your own photos, send them to hunterphotoedits@gmail.com, and I will be sure to include your photos in the next one. I do 4 at a time. I might up it to 5 or maybe even more, but we'll see. Might be just be different every time I'm doing these videos, but I'm going to try to keep it to 4 at a time. And again, if you are interested in me editing your photos, send them to hunterphotoedits@gmail.com, and we could go from there on me editing your photos in Lightroom, possibly Photoshop whenever I feel like it's necessary for some photos and all that stuff. And you guys can see how I edit when I do the screen recording and all that stuff. And also subscribe if you guys are new with post notifications turned on. And other than that, keep creating. I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace out.